what is the relationship between the historic ARA and kind of our contemporary kind of Antifa? And I will say that I avoid talking about Antifa because it is such a boogeyman for the far right. But clearly there are people organizing under the banner of Antifa. And whether people are organizing under that banner or not, they're operating in the legacy of ARA. Would y'all be willing to say a little bit about, I know it's not the subject of the book, but kind of how ARA transitioned us into this current moment of anti-fascist organizing?
Trying to unmute. Yeah, I think you're right to frame the context that that's the book we didn't write. But I think you're also right that there are lots of linkages. And, you can see, I think, one of the big questions we had when we were working on the book was, where do we end our narrative? Recognizing that all the way into 2023, there are collective groups across the United States that call themselves ARA, recognizing that there was an ARA network until 2013, recognizing that things continued, but what we began to focus on as a kind of dividing line was the shift toward a more kind of security conscious modality of organizing. And I think that's the place where you can see the transition to what becomes contemporary anti-fascism, particularly when you're looking at how do anti-fascists stand up against people like Richard Spencer in the middle 2010s, right? I'm confident that if you did a census, probably the FBI has done some of this mapping, right? They could find that there were people that were actively involved in ARA that subsequently became involved in continuing forms of anti-fascist activism today. I think that move toward security culture as the kind of the base minimum level signaled a real shift away from the stuff that all three of us, I think, talked about in different ways, this attempt to balance or to combine a level of intense militant struggle with a kind of mass or public facing organizing effort. And in my mind, at least, I won't speak for my co-authors, but in my mind, that's a loss. It's an understandable loss, recognizing the way in which things have changed. It's an understandable loss, but it is a loss. The other thing that happened simultaneously, and I want to sort of disaggregate them, although I think they are connected, is the rise of the internet, right? I mean, we were an email-oriented universe. I have a specific memory of Jerry teaching me how you could create a Hotmail account that had some random name that wasn't you. And that was a thing, right? Like that was our tech. And to operate in a world of social media is a radically different environment. And I think, I can't remember, it might be Kieran, somebody says late in the book that a lot of people, a lot of older folks in ARA, we didn't think we were old then, but we were older than some, missed the boat on the importance of internet-based organizing. That we thought everything is going to happen in person, and that's how we need to respond to it. And missing the ways in which the far right was incubated within this universe of the internet. And the younger generation of anti-fascists got that implicitly and reacted in, I think, ways that are really appropriate to that shift in the context. So that's the place where I would say, the thing that we got wrong, they got right. But at the same time, there are these other places where I wish we would see more of a commitment to public facing as something that has to be balanced with security culture. Does that make sense as an answer?